My name is Dave Harvey. I'm the Director of Environment, Health, and Safety for the Greenbrier companies, and we manufacture mainly rail cars, but at our Portland, Oregon facility at Gunderson, we also manufacture marine ocean-going barges. I've been working in the environment, health, and safety industry now for not quite 30 years. We're actually in a higher injury rate type of industry. We have somewhere in the vicinity of 10,000 manufacturing employees. Then a lot of those people, almost all those people, are doing things like welding. And so at least for me, when I look at Adflo, to me it evens the playing field. They really do look for situations where the company doesn't just say safety is important, they actually do things that prove it's important. And certainly for an employee, I think the easiest way to have someone show that it's important is when an investment is made. When we invest in Adflo, when we invest in the PAPRs, then we're in a situation where now we long-term should be able to achieve any number that any industry can. When we spend the time and effort and money to engage the employees and then work with them and then actually make a change, that makes a difference. And there's a number of examples here that we've done that. And I think the PAPRs are probably the biggest and most visible example of that. A number of manufacturing facilities have been able to automate significant portions, a large portion perhaps, of their various operations. The kind of work that we do where we have to have skilled labor, we have to have the skilled welders, there are some inherent risks in that workplace that before I came across the 3M PAPRs, I was in certain respects trying to understand how we could ever achieve, in just a numeric or metric sense, how we could ever achieve kind of this world-class or industry leader status. Because even with the best of our abilities, things like eye protection and having recordable injuries where we have foreign objects in the eye, those, when you're doing a lot of manual welding, when we as a company do a lot of manual welding, that risk that's in the workplace, no matter how much time and effort and training, and we were spending a lot, it was hard to really narrow down on those types of activities. And then I think the extra protection factor that it provides to the employees for the respiratory protection. Now, we were meeting the requirements, but I think this exceeds the requirements, and I think that's also a benefit to the employee. We believe that there's also a productivity increase associated with the use of the PAPRs because there's greater comfort level, the people don't get as tired during the end of the day, they aren't using the negative pressure respirator, it's the air flow that provides the protection, etc. What I was pleasantly surprised by when the presentation came in is that, at least on the surface, when we were initially looking at it, and the reason that we wanted to look at it more was the fact that a lot of the issues that we've heard about or perhaps even experienced really are situations that have been resolved, and I call it the next generation of these PAPRs, where it's actually more comfortable to wear. It's lighter. The battery life is such that it should last for the entire shift, I suppose, depending upon the length of the shift, but it should last the entire shift. And so a lot of the issues that people have expressed in the past are just not issues anymore. It works great for 3 hours, it works great for 2 hours, it works great for 8 hours. Does it work great for 2 months? And they did. Certainly part of the feedback was it would be nice to perhaps not have to have all of my facial hair gone. It doesn't mean, in Portland, large beards are very in vogue at times, and can't have one that large, but you can certainly have some facial hair, whereas in the past that just wouldn't have been able to have a good fit in the fit test. And then we're doing work inside the hulls. You know, we're in Portland, Oregon. It doesn't get as hot here, but especially when the sun's beating down on it and when it's in July and August, there are still a number of days that it's in the 90s, and there are at least a few days that it's over 100, and that doesn't mean that we can just stop work. And so for us, I think it's a big deal because otherwise, from a heat stress point of view, we have to rotate people in. We have to manage and control the length of time that they can be in certain situations where if it's too hot, then we might have to rotate them out, or do in fact rotate them out, or on a much more frequent basis. And so we rotate them through different positions. With the cooling, we feel as though we can just really, we still have to monitor people just to make sure, but we're going to be able to have them stay in that position and continue to work like they do, like they would normally do, like they're doing now. Sure. Those are the activities that we have to do. And with the PAPR, then we're in a situation where the extra level of protection, the integrated unit, it's a lighter unit, it provides a reason for the person to always have the right equipment in the right place. And so from that, or with that, I think that it provides an extra or it fundamentally changes the workplace. I guess that's the way we look at it. One of the differentiators for 3M was actually the level of service that was provided. This higher level of service, then it's clear that it isn't just going to be, here's your equipment, good luck. And I also think it was important that the emphasis on having 3M people train our people and not having our people use the equipment until they were trained. We would tend to want to do that anyway, but at least for us, I think that is important that they be trained up front, because, again, if the equipment isn't being used, it doesn't make any difference how good your equipment is. If you aren't using it right, there will be complaints. It just takes some time and effort to convey how to properly use the equipment so you can maximize the usefulness of the equipment. And so again, that distinguished things as to how much support we received during the trial process, and it's continued since then.